Shalom, 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 my people. Hello. What is up, everybody? What's up, Cyrus the virus? How are we doing, buddy? What's up, Nightlinks? What's up, YouTube? A lot of you in here. What's up, Esteban? Thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We still got a couple minutes, so we'll wait it out till 8 o'clock. What's up, Keybash, Ulfath, Draxter, McGames, Kyle Horton. Thanks, Blackness Prime. Thanks also, Reckless Pancake. Thank you, everybody. What is up? Hi, Alexandre from Brazil. How are you doing, buddy? What's up, PMR? Eric, what's up? Deadly, Maddie, TJ, Virus, Alpha Beta Zero. Hey, guys. A lot of people coming through. Happy to see all of you here. Luxembourg says hi. Hi, Luxembourg. Guten Tag. All right, 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. We'll kick off. Hey, thank you, Deadly. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hi from Portugal. Hi, Portugal. Yeah, that's all I know. It was close enough in region, Silk. Close enough. Don't worry about panic installing Juice Shop. We've got plenty of time. Absolutely plenty of time. I placed gold in healer. I'm gonna switch this out and switch it back in. There we go. Hi, Yamo from Puerto Rico. Hey, guys. Hey, everybody. Berjano, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. All right, it's 8 o'clock. We are hopping. Loving 222. Loving it, guys. All right. Welcome to what we're going to be calling the web app pen testing course. I'm trying to be YouTube friendly and not call it anything else. So we're going to call this the web app testing course. We're going to be doing pen testing. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of PowerPoint. If you've been with me before, you know we do maybe 10 minutes of PowerPoint, just like an overview. Since this is the first lesson, it might be a little longer because we got some rules to get out of the way, some things to cover. And we've got a very, very active chat. So as you notice, we've got 70-something people on YouTube, 70-something on Twitch right now. So I can't keep up with all the messages. We'll talk about that here in a minute as well. So if this is your first time also, we always do stream. In the beginning, we do the lessons, and then we've opened up the floor for AMA, and I will answer your questions as long as I can go. So let's go ahead and open up to the PowerPoint. And then we will, and it looks like my screen doesn't want to work tonight. So what we'll do is we'll switch screens. And that's super easy for me. So give me 1 second. Already technical difficulties. So we will switch over to the other side. Slideshow on monitor 3. From beginning. There we go. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Okay, bring this over here for me and also bring this over this way. Perfect. Just got to flip my screens over. I've been having issues with my left monitor showing up in stream for whatever reason. The right one shows up all the time. Not sure what the issue is with it. So let me go ahead and switch those over. Boom, there's that. I'll add my face into it because I'm sure you guys really want to see that. And let me pull up my chats. And then we'll be ready to go. All right. Here we go. Welcome to week 1. Sorry for the 1 minute of technical difficulty there. So week 1, quick, who am I? Most of you know who I am. A lot of you, this is your first time here. So I'm going to run through it really quick for anybody watching this later on YouTube as well. So I am a husband first, hacker, military veteran, gamer, sports fan, animal dad. Love to play Overwatch. As some of you guys have seen, I got 5 animals, 2 cats, 3 dogs. I'm a former accountant turned pen tester. So I worked in accounting for a long time, and then I decided I'm going to switch off. I'm going to become a pen tester, and I did just that. So day to day, I'm a senior security engineer, and I own my own pen testing company, which is called TCM Security. On top of that, I have 2 projects that I do. One is the Cyber Mentor, which you are watching right now. So that is my Twitch streaming, YouTubing, etc. The other is veteransec.com. So if you are a military veteran and you are watching this today, please do consider going to veteransec.com/Slack. We have a private community just for military veterans who are interested in cybersecurity. So that is not only a veteran community, that's also where a lot of us blog. So we blog over here at veteransec.com. I do some blogging as well at my TCM security site at tcm-sec.com. So on top of this, what are we going to learn in this course? And let me get rid of this. You don't need to see me right now. What are we going to learn? Okay, we are going to learn pen testing techniques, and I'll turn off alerts as well. We're going to learn pen testing techniques, right? We're going to talk about the 5 steps of pen testing, information gathering, scanning and enumeration, exploitation, maintaining access, and cleanup. Okay, those are the 5 steps. So we'll briefly cover those today. It's very important to know, and the methodology doesn't change whether you're doing network pen testing or you're doing wireless pen testing, you're doing anything. So you're doing web app pen testing, it's all the same. So on top of this, we're going to be learning some tools. We're going to be covering Burp Suite. I will also be covering Burp Suite Pro. You do not have to have Burp Suite Pro. There are just some features that I want to show you about Burp Suite Pro that make it really nice. And I am a big fan of it. So I got to show it, you know? And if there's one tool that I recommend people purchase, especially if like you're trying to get into bug bounty hunting or doing web apps, $400 for Burp Suite Pro is 100% worth it. So on top of that, Nikto, Durbuster, curl, sublister, nmap. There's so many web app tools that we can use. So we're going to be covering some of those, looking into those, okay? On top of this, we are going to be covering the OWASP top 10, every single item in the top 10, and some others. So we're going to take a look at what we're going to be doing here in a minute. I've got quite a few things for us on the agenda, so we'll take a look. Lastly, we're going to cover some important documents. We'll talk about resources, career advice, etc. So again, if you missed it in the beginning, we are talking first, we'll do the course. Tonight's going to take an hour to maybe an hour and a half. And then we'll do AMA afterwards. So we'll do AMA of anywhere from I'm trying to get out of here at 10 tonight, but I will push it later if we need to. My wife leaves tomorrow, so I kind of want to spend some quality time with her. But typically sometimes we go all the way to midnight. So these streams can sometimes last 4 hours. The lessons anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours typically. So a good chunk of AMA if you enjoy that. So special note at the bottom, this course runs every Wednesday at 8 p.m. until we are finished, and unless otherwise noted. So sometimes I do have to travel. I have my own life going on. Sometimes I'm not available on Wednesdays. I will make that very clear and way ahead of time if I'm not going to be available. As noted again, AMA afterwards. There are very few rules that I have in this chat. Rule number 1 is don't be a dick. If you be a dick, I will ban you without any question. Don't ask Black Cat or how to hack Facebook, sir type questions. Don't ask me about botnets. Don't ask me anything illegal. I'm not going to answer them. That's a good way to get you booted as well. Okay? So anything stupid, if you think it's stupid, it's probably stupid. So please just don't do it, because I am trigger happy today, and I will ban you in a second. Other than that, we are a chill chat. We'll hang out, we'll chat, we'll have a good time. And my encouragement to you is to help each other, because right now I'm looking at it. We got 109 people just in Twitch. We got another 100 and something, it looks like, on YouTube. So please do help each other. If somebody has a question and you know the answer to it, I already see it going on right now. Somebody asked a question about Burp Suite Pro, and somebody else answered it. Perfect. That's the kind of environment I want you guys to be in. So other than that, let's go ahead and push forward. Okay, let's talk about resources really quick, because these are important. If you are interested, we have a mailing list. Kind of environment I want you guys to be in. And look at that. So another technical difficulty. Other than that, let's go ahead and push forward. Hold on, guys. Okay, let's talk about resources. I just booted up my own website, which happens to have my live stream on it. All right. So anyway, website. This is where you get to a few important places, the cybermentor.com. So we've got the contact/subscribe up here. This is really what's important. You come over here. Also, we got the links, right? If you're interested in any of the social media links, but over here, if you get on the mailing list will allow you to be there when I send homework. So right now there's about 1,000 of you on the mailing list. When I send homework out, it'll go to the mailing list. There's also a couple places it'll go to. It'll go to GitHub at some point. I'm going to be putting out the GitHub. You see, for the 0 to hero or the beginner network pen testing, this is exactly what I did. The mailing list is in here for each week, or the homework. More importantly, let's see this. If I bring over the Discord here and we go, there is a web app course Discord right here. Okay, so if you come into the Discord channel, it's the link. If you hit !Discord in the chat, it'll bring it up. Also, if you just go to the link on the webpage, you can come into Discord. We've got about 2,000 people in here. We have a special channel just for this course. If you are taking this course and you're interested, you can chat with other people. There are also pins for when I send out messages. All the resource lists that I'm going to be sending out tonight or showing you guys tonight are going to be in here. They're also going to be in the announcements from earlier. So I sent all this out, so don't ask for links. If you guys are interested in links, they'll either be in the description of the video later, or they're going to be sitting in these channels. So please do consider using Discord channel as well. So let's go back into the PowerPoint. And so I showed you guys the Discord, I showed you guys the GitHub. GitHub is where I'm going to be uploading the course material. There's also a tool or two that I might show you from the GitHub. Last but not least, the course is 100% free. If you are interested, there is a Patreon that you can tip me at, or you can tip on the streamlabs.com/cybermentor. Not expected at all, but donations are accepted. Other than that, let's talk about resources. So there are so many resources, and we're going to cover these really quick. So this whole course is going to revolve around a tool called Juice Shop. Well, not a tool, a platform that was invented just for web app pen testing. So I sent out an email on the mailing list for everybody who has already signed up. We are going to be using Juice Shop. Now, it is a highly vulnerable web app, and I will bring you to the page here. So if we go to the page, we take a look at it, and we go here. So Juice Shop, this is it. It's very, very simple to install. All you have to do is sign up for Heroku and then hit this deploy button. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes, 100% free. You get your own instance Fun times, awesome stuff. On top of that, you can install it in other things. You can install it via Docker, via Vagrant, EC2 instance. They've got all different ways that you can install this, but Heroku is free, very easy to set up. It's literally a one click of a button. Okay, on top of this, while we're here, there is this link for this Git book by the same author. He put together a whole book of everything, okay? Now, in here, there is a bunch of stuff. We can talk about all the vulnerability categories that we're going to be covering. So if you look at what we're going to be covering in this course, A1, A2, A3, A4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that is all of your OWASP top 10 right here. So we will be covering every single one of the OWASP top 10. We'll also be covering some additional material here, okay? So very, very fun stuff. Now, there is a challenge board for this. And what we'll do is we'll have a scoreboard, and I don't know if I have a picture of the scoreboard yet, but when we get to the scoreboard, we'll talk about it. But basically what is out there is there are a bunch of different challenges, and here they are. So how we're going to run this course is we're going to do it step by step, right? We're going to start with the trivial challenges. So my original thought for this course was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to take injection or cross-site scripting, and I'm going to show you all the cross-site scripting vulnerabilities and just cover that in 1 week. What the issue with that is we could start at tier 0 and tier 1, and then we get to get up to the difficult ones, and it's going to lose people. So what I think is I'm going to do is we're going to do trivial challenges 1 week, then easy challenges, then medium, and then we'll just keep going on. You see the list gets longer and longer and longer. So as we start getting into these later weeks and you see the new tiers up here for cross-site scripting, it's just going to get harder and harder. So we're going to start out really simple. We'll cover the concepts. Every time I introduce something new like cross-site scripting, I'll have information about what it is, why it's vulnerable. We'll even talk some defenses with it as well. So I will teach you guys what I know through a really good web app. And what this is going to do is hopefully when we're done, it's going to make you confident in your abilities to do pen testing with web apps. This isn't really bug bounty hunting. Bug bounty hunting is web apps, right? It really is. The methodologies in web app pen testing and bug bounty hunting are slightly different, but not very different, okay? So you learn a lot of this. You can take this knowledge and go do bug bounty hunting. And I have provided links here to very popular programs, which we'll talk about. Before we do this, there is also this OWASP test guide that I want to share with you guys. So every time I do a pen test, this is how we do an OWASP test guide. So if we come down here and I show you these links, now there is a PDF and there's a GitHub, okay, in those links that I sent out. Now, this GitHub shows a checklist. I'm going to bring this checklist over. I use this on every single web app assessment that I do. This is version 4. They just released version 5. So we come through here and you could see like it starts with information gathering, configuration, and deployment. And here's where it can get a little overwhelming when we're talking about doing web app pen tests. Look at all the stuff that we have to do. This is one assessment, okay? One assessment is 124 lines, and that is very, very detailed that we have to go through. So this is fantastic. And the nice thing about this checklist is the PDF that comes with it. So if we look at the PDF, it lines up perfectly. We scroll through, there's a bunch of stuff in here. I don't know where it starts, like page 25 or so. Here's the framework. Where are we? Okay, so page 25, here we are. So page 28, actually. You come into here, OTG info 001. If we look back at this, OTG info 001. There's a whole write-up on tools to use, what you're looking for, how to do it. Your methodology is all here. On top of that, remediation. Okay? So literally, if you're doing a pen test and you have any questions, you can refer to this guide and your checklist, and that ensures that you don't miss anything. when there's 124 steps available to do a pen test, chances are you're not going to remember everything that's coming through. So it's very nice to have this kind of guide, this checklist, etc. And like I said, I use this on every single list, and it's nice just to go in here and say, hey, what tools do I use for that? With all the tools and everything that are out there, it's just hard to remember everything, okay? So here we go, onward. So if we go back into the PowerPoint, I'm losing my links. Bug bounties and education. Let's talk about those really quick. So back into here. Bug bounties. What are bug bounties? Bug bounties, if you don't know, are public sourced bug hunting. So it's like doing a web app for a customer that says, hey, you can hack me. And you can hack me, and if you hack me, I might give you some money. Basically how it works. So there's a few big players. Bugcrowd's one. HackerOne is also a big player. The Synac Red Team is a little bit more private, but you can apply to be in there. You can do you could do a test to get in, and if you're good enough, you get in. And then there is this website, Guru99, listed the top 30 bug bounty programs. So if you look at this as well, most companies have their own as well. So Intel, Yahoo, Snapchat. So you might find these on like Bugcrowd, but you also can go to their website and look at some of the information that they have out there and do testing for these companies. So other than that, really quick shout outs on the education front. eLearn Security Web Application Penetration Testing version 3. This is a fantastic course. Okay, it's under courses, Web Application Penetration Testing. Awesome stuff, great materials. Look at all the lessons. It covers a majority, if not all, of the OWASP top 10. I took this course. I am a high advocate of it. So I love it. It's great. I don't know the pricing. The pricing right now is anywhere from $1,000 to $1,400, but you're realistically looking at $1,200 to $1,400. If that is too expensive for you, there are alternatives. Portswigger, who makes Burp Suite, has come out with a web security academy. If you go to portswigger.net/web-security, look at the topics that they're coming out with on the side, and they're introducing new stuff all the time. So SQL injection, cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, external XML external entities, SSRF, right? So all this stuff here, nice. Really nice stuff. Free lessons. Bugcrowd is also coming out with their own free stuff as well. So all the major platforms are starting to come out with this free training. And if you come through here, if you have money and you have an employer that's willing to pay, the GWAP isn't a bad certification either. It really looks good on a resume. I don't know if it'll get you fully web app pen testing after doing it, but it's a decent start. But these run about $6,000, so that's really expensive. On the other hand, if you do like a work study and this is something you're interested in, then you can do a week's worth of work with them and they'll let you buy the course and the certification exam for like $1,500. So that's an alternative as well. Last but not least, a classic, okay? The Web Application Hacker's Handbook. This is really old. It's from 2012, I believe. And people will say it's dated. It's dated, yes, but at the same time, it is relevant. Even though it's 7 years old or whatever, it's still relevant. Web app penetration testing concepts don't change that much. Many of the flaws that were there a long time ago still exist, and some of the methodology still exists. This book is still very relevant. Okay? So that is not an all-inclusive list. Okay? That's not all-inclusive at all, but it's a good start. And this is just a good start resources list to get into web application bug bounties. I think bug bounty hunting's good for practice. I also think that if you're curious about an exploit, say like XXE, what I would do is Google XXE bug bounty write-up and just look at all the write-ups and the methodology and the tricks that people use when they were doing bug bounty hunting. Same thing with a web app pen test. If I see something weird, chances are somebody's also seen that and possibly reported it through a bug bounty site. And that has helped me before when I'm doing actual client work to refer back and say, yeah, this is screwed up, or no, it's not. They wrote it off. It's nothing. So, all right, some quick notes before we start. Please only use the information learned in this course for ethical purposes only. Also, please take notes. If I'm going too fast, you can feel free to ask me to slow down or show something again. It doesn't mean that I'll be able to, but it does mean that I am watching the chat when I can. And I will do my best to go as slow as possible and show everything. We got a lot of information. Tonight's going to actually be really chill. We're just getting set up. All we're going to be doing is we're going to be testing against a public platform, and we will be doing enumeration. That's all we're going to be doing tonight. It's enumeration. Enumeration deserves, in my opinion, 6 weeks of teaching. I'm not going to. I'm going to do it for 1 week. But that's how important enumeration is. All right. So I'm going to take a drink of my coffee here. Let's talk about the important steps here, okay? The 5 steps of hacking. So this is important, and I mentioned this before. So we've got 5 steps of hacking. We've got reconnaissance. Okay, reconnaissance is like information gathering, and there's 2 types of reconnaissance. There is what is considered active reconnaissance and passive reconnaissance. Now, typically stage 1 of reconnaissance is passive. Passive means that we don't actually go out to a client site and touch it or scan it or do anything with it. Okay, we're gathering information from Google or public information that's already out there that we never have to physically scan a website. The second that we go into active reconnaissance, we start moving into scanning and enumeration. So we gather information with reconnaissance. What are we looking for? We're looking for possible subdomains, any kind of interesting files that might be out on the web. We want to do a whois and make sure that the client we're testing is actually the client that we're testing, because sometimes they give you the wrong IP address or wrong information. Happens all the time. On top of that, we might want to look through breach credential dumps, right? And see if we find any information there for passwords or anything like that. So very interesting stuff. We'll cover a lot of that here in just a little bit. So on top of reconnaissance, the next step is scanning and enumeration. We will cover some scanning and enumeration tonight as well. So scanning, when we're talking web apps, we're talking using like Burp Suite's active scanner, which is part of the Pro plan. We're talking about using nmap. We're talking about using tools like Nikto. Okay, scanning goes on and it looks at the website, looks for some sort of vulnerabilities. We look at what kind of information is available to us, and then we enumerate it. We look for services. We look for all kinds of information, right? So the more information that we can gather about this, the better off we are. We are, as hackers, right, as penetration tester professionals, the best penetration testers are the people that can enumerate, have good patience, and are willing to dig deep when nothing is there on the surface. This is what we are after, okay? This is the most important. Gaining access, all that other stuff, not as important. Yes, it's fun to exploit, but you're not going to get to the exploitation unless you scan and enumerate properly. So, on top of this, the other 3 stages. Gaining access sounds just like you think it is. We consider that the same thing as exploitation. So, gaining access, exploitation, same thing. That is when you run an exploit against a potential vulnerability and you leverage that to gain some sort of access. Now, in network pen testing, that typically means a shell. Same thing with web app. We can be talking about like RCE, which is remote code execution, if we can leverage a shell that way. Even gaining access to a user account or gaining access to an admin account, it's all gaining access. Okay, the other 2 steps are maintaining access. How can we maintain that access? how do we, say if we're doing a network pen test, how do we stay on that computer if they turn it off, or if they take it off the network to go home because it's a laptop? What can we do there? So the idea of that is, how do we maintain access until we are done with it? And then when we are done with it, we are going to do covering our tracks, right? That's deleting log files, making sure that nobody else knows that we're there. In this course, we are covering reconnaissance, scanning enumeration, and gaining access. That is it. For web app pen testing, that's all we're going to need in this course, and everything is going to be done through Juice Shop. All right, so let's look at the next slide here. So let's talk about reconnaissance, and we're almost done with PowerPoints, I promise. So with passive recon, we need to do target validation, right? Like I said, we need to know the whois, the NS lookup, DNS recon. We really just want to know for sure that the target we are attacking is in scope. It's the one the client gave us. There is a great podcast out there called Darknet Diaries. And if you've ever heard of Mubix, cool dude, right? He had a situation where he pen tested the wrong company that was almost identical to the other company he should have been pen testing. Great episode as well. So it's very, very important to listen to or make sure that you're validating your targets. So that's what the whois is for. When we're talking bug bounties, we don't need to really do that because the information's on the web. They posted it. That is what they're saying. So just make sure that you're following the directive that they give you. On top of that, finding subdomains. So you can do some Google foo to find subdomains. You can use a tool called Dig. Nmap can find subdomains. Sublister is my go-to. This is my favorite. There's a tool out there called Bluto, which has kind of been iffy for me lately. And crt.sh is pretty good as well, etc. We'll talk about why we're after subdomains, but importantly, what it is say you have google.com. Okay, and then you're looking for interesting subdomains because maybe we don't want to stop at google.com. What if there's a dev.google.com or test.google.com? Maybe there's something that they put out there that was just for a dev environment or an admin environment or something that they were trying to not have publicly available, or they left kind of vulnerable. And we can find that and maybe leverage those attacks. So somebody asked if nmap is active scanning. Yes, nmap is active scanning. Nmap, in terms of this situation, is active. This is correct. Google foo is not. Dig is not. Sublister is not. cert.sh is not. Okay? Nmap is. So good call on that. Fingerprinting. So this is where we start to kind of get into the active-ish area. Nmap could do fingerprinting. A tool called Wapalizer is very nice and could do fingerprinting. WhatWeb does fingerprinting as well. Built With is a website that we can use to do fingerprinting, and Netcat can actually be used to do fingerprinting as well. So some of these are active, some of these are passive. Wapalizer, Nmap are active, WhatWeb is active, Built With is passive, and Netcat is active. So Built With would be the passive here. Lastly, data breaches. Have I been pwned or similar list? This is one of the best areas, especially if you're doing network pen testing, but it still holds true for web apps as well. Looking through breach data lists and looking at some cool tools that are out there to utilize the passwords and information that have been given or have been dumped in breaches, like say the LinkedIn breach. This kind of information can be used later in attacks. There is a great website that I discovered actually a couple weeks ago that I'll share with you guys. Before this, I had written my own tool. At this point, I think I'm just going to use the website from now on. Like my tool it's okay for what I need, but the website's so much more comprehensive when it comes to real pen testing. So I'll cover both of those as well. Okay, so let's get into some hands-on stuff. So we have a task here. Our task is going to be, we have been asked to gather information about the company iRobot.com. Let's take a look at some useful information gathering tools and see what we can come up with. That's the end. Now we're going to say why iRobot. Well, if you go to bugcrowd.com/iRobot, that is why. Okay. So if we come through here and we're looking at some interesting stuff, right? So we have to look at the targets in scope. This is important. Okay, so we've got store.iRobot, www.iRobot. They've got some iTunes for the iOS and the Android Google Play Store, so their web app as well. And you can test your own iRobot. Okay, out of scope is only homesupport.irobot.com and irobot.in. So we cannot pen test against these. Do not try it. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So from here, there are a few things we need to do, but if we look at this, there is no wildcard here, like a wildcard or asterisk.irobot.com that would be out of scope. So that means that, okay, we have store.irobot, etc., www, but maybe there's a dev.irobot, right? So there's a bunch of tools that we can look at and gather information here. So let's take a look and just look at some of these tools. First things first, I'm going to open this up. Now, the first tool I want to show you is going to be Sublister, and then we'll take this a little further. So if you Google Sublister, and it's already in my search history, but you Google it like this, Sublister, with the 3 as an E, you're going to see that we have this GitHub here. Go ahead and click on the GitHub. Let's bring up the screen for a second, see how we're doing. Okay, the YouTube is so many people, I have to bring it over. There you guys go. Awesome. So, don't know why it's not working for me. I already have it installed. If you guys can get to this domain, that's absolutely fine. Make sure I'm actually getting out to the web. I am. So if you need to copy this GitHub domain, it's right here. All you have to do is I put mine in the op folder. Got some tools in here. I thought I did. Okay, it's in the root. I lied. So we go into Sublister here. So if you need to, just git clone on that on this address here, and you should be able to pull down the git. You'd actually have to go in there and clone it though. So from Sublister, if we say ls, we've got the sublister.py, and you say python sublister.py, and then all we have to do is say -d for the domain we want to target. And what are we going to target? We are going to target irobot.com, just like that. Okay, people are saying that it's in the apt repo now. I did not know that. So if you do apt, apparently apt install Sublister should work. Clearly, I'm having connection issues on this machine. So let's go ahead and let me switch over to this machine here. Make sure I can actually reach out. I think I know the issue. We'll just use my main pen test machine. So we could do apt install Sublister again. There we go. That's actually working. So instead of running sublister.py, we should just be able to use Sublister and it should work fine. Okay, so the reason I'm having this issue, in case you guys are curious, is one machine is natted. This machine is natted, this machine is bridged. So I have issues with NAT, but the bridge machine's always constant. So, okay, Sublister. We do a domain. If you ever have a question on what you're doing as well, You could just type in sublister. Usually it'll give you some information. -D is there, or -dash help tells you a little bit more as well. So we're just going to do -D for the domain. We'll try irobot.com, and that'll work now. Take a break here, grab a drink, and answer questions if I see anything worth answering. Okay, and this just takes a second, and this is one way to do it. So we'll look through this way. There's also other ways to do this. So if we take a look here, let's see what I've got open. I'm gonna quit my tabs. Oh, it's just dogs anyway. I was using this for my, I was trying to find a dog to do an upload. Okay, so if we go to crt.sh, or yep, crt.sh, and we can look for, could do a %.irobot.com. The percent is a wildcard. And we do search. Nothing came up because I typed in iRobot incorrectly. iRobot. There you go. You do not have to provide API keys for sublister. It's fantastic. Okay, so you see a lot of overwhelming information that comes through here. This is great. Look at all these. robopro.irobot.com, educate, education, edu, robopro, trp-vpn.irobot.com. That's interesting. Active Directory, Federation Services, testenvironment.irobot.com, vpn.irobot.com, autodiscover, legacy, webmail. These are all very interesting subdomains. Meraki, MyJira. So not only are we pulling off information here about what type of subdomains they have, we're finding information about their internal network a little bit, right? Look, they've got Active Directory running. Okay, they've got autodiscover, which tells me they've got some kind of exchange environment. You come down and you see that they've got a Meraki in their network. They're using Jira. My Citrix test, okay, they're using Citrix. So they're using Slack, look, slack.irobot.com. Single sign-on down here. So we find a lot of information. Zoom, AWS, GitHub. So this is just getting juicier and juicier, right? We're not going to attack any of these, by the way, so don't get your hopes up, but just know that they're interesting. Now this is going to take a little bit, so we're looking here and we could start navigating to some of these. Before we do that, let me go ahead and let me actually move this. Let me blank my screen for a second. I just don't want to show any kind of confidential information before I close out on my Burp Suite. I'm gonna load up Burp Suite Pro really quick. And also pull some information down. Close, temporary project. All right. I've loaded Burp Suite. Let's give that a second. Uno más. Looking for one note, guys, one note. Okay, so in Burp Suite, a couple things that we can do. So the old-fashioned way here is we can go into Preferences, and you can come down to actually just scroll down in your Preferences in Firefox, and you go to Settings, and you can configure your proxy manually. You can use the settings here. I'll give you guys a second to actually write it down if you're interested. What we're looking for is the 127.0.0.1, and also we're looking for the 8080 on the port by default. So we're after both of those things. Okay, so the other way to do that is to actually install a tool called Foxy Proxy. So if we cancel this, I have this tool here called Foxy Proxy. All you got to do is Google Foxy Proxy and then go to the install. So if we say Foxy Proxy, and I'm already in my burp, so it's picking that up. Let me turn that intercept off. You go to Foxy Proxy, you can add on the standard here. Okay, and yes, you can follow along with most of what I'm about to do with Burp Suite community. So don't feel obligated to have to be a part of what I'm doing with Pro. But anyway, you can go ahead and just hit the install that would be here. Otherwise, we should be good to go. So what we can do is, if you saw in the initial request here, we did get our intercept. We can intercept one more time. And you can see now that if we come over here, there's an intercepted page. So what we're doing is we're intercepting a request. Now, if you're not familiar with GET requests or POST requests or different types of HTTP methods, I do encourage you to look those up because they are super important. Otherwise, we should be okay here. We'll get into method testing at some point in this course, I'm sure. So anyway, we're intercepting requests. We can come in here and change this request. We can make this a put if we want. We can do a lot of different tampering. We're not after that yet. We're just doing enumeration. And really what we want is we want to go out to the irobot.com site. And this is a little bit of passive versus active, right? So this is a little bit of active enumeration now. We come out to irobot.com. If you look in the targets, a lot of stuff is coming up. Look at all these websites that interact with iRobot. We've got a bunch of them here. I just saw Facebook pop up, so they've got a bunch, and it's just going to keep coming through. So we can actually go through and we can just do the iRobot and add this to scope. So I will show you guys that. If we just right click and add to scope, and then we'll say yes. And what we can do is we can just show only the in-scope items. And look what happens. It takes the rest of it away. Okay. And then, so what else we can do is we can do something a little bit better than this. What if we go to the scope and we use advanced control instead? And we say add. We'll do any on this protocol, host or IP range, port, file. So on the host range, what if we did some regex? What if our regex looked like this? And I'll give you guys a second to copy it. Okay, so we got a period, asterisk, backslash, period, test, backslash.com, $, right? So we're using that for scope. So now, instead of www, what if we just come out to iRobot? We can also add in the iRobot as well. So, and I also, no, that should be good. If it wants to actually load. You guys said you're annoyed by the alerts. I'll turn the alerts off. See if we can pull it in. And I use test.com, which is why nothing's showing up because I'm an idiot. So it's going to look like this. iRobot. Okay. Period. Wildcard. I can actually paste this into chat. This might actually be helpful. I'm losing my mind tonight. I'm on very, very little sleep. There you go. Let's try that. Okay, look. Why are we changing the scope? Because if we didn't change the scope, only thing here would be irobot.com. www.irobot.com, okay? Because we have changed the scope, we now can start seeing other things like store.irobot.com. Okay? So now we get all the items in scope. Now we do know that we want one of them not in scope, right? And what was that we don't want in scope? If we come back to, let's go to bug crowd, and we'll go to iRobot. We don't want in scope this home support. So we can open that in a new tab, bring up this home support here, and then we can just remove this from the scope. And we won't ever see that again. Then we don't have to test it. I am drinking coffee. Somebody did notice that. Good call. So let's check on our sublister. Okay, sublisters come back now. If we look at sublister, look at all the stuff. Oh man, they've got Jenkins. We know Jenkins. JetBrains. A lot of stuff here. It's iced coffee. Why wouldn't it be in a glass? So keep coming through all these things. API.iRobot. So we can do like ADFS or maybe SSO or whatever else was there. Paste and go. See if that works. If that doesn't work, we could do, what was it, SSO.irobot.com, something along those lines. Okay, and that brought us to ADFS. So ADFS, right? We just brought that up. And look, you could see when we actually go to a subdomain, they start showing up in here as well. So we can sign into this site. They've got all the other lists of sites that they have available for us to sign into as well. Proofpoint, Oracle Cloud, Qtest, RallyDev, Ring Central. So if you look at all these, they've got WebEx, Workday, Workfront. So yeah, and some people are asking the different colors here, right? So if we've actually accessed a site or been on it or Burp has touched it, it'll be black. If it is gray, it means we haven't navigated to it, but it knows about it through another website that we've encountered. So at this point, we've been to a couple, right? And the store automatically populated here. So anyway, what are some things that we can do? And what's nice about Burp as well is if you come through here, you could see that it starts like lighting up with these little orange here. So it says, hey, strict transport security is missing. And this is just a header misconfiguration. So it's saying HSTS is missing. If you read about it, you can read about the strict transport security protocol down here and what it should be set to if you read the advisory, blah, 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 right? So it gives you some information on this. And we didn't even do any scanning. This is just basically touching the website. Same thing with this cross-site scripting filter misconfiguration. They probably just don't have their cross-site scripting header in there. They're finding some cookies without flag set, probably not the login cookies because we haven't logged in. So these are really nothing we're going to be worried about at the moment. Clickjacking is off too. So it looks like they really don't care about their headers. We can also do a proof of concept on that. We can go to a website called headers.io or headers.com. I think it might be security headers. If this is a porn site, I'm so sorry. Securityheaders.io, I believe. Okay, and then we can go iRobot.com. And they get a big old F. Okay, so it tells you, this is nice when you're doing a pen test too, is it tells you here what's all missing. And these are recommended security headers that should be on a website. So if we're doing a pen test, we would identify the missing headers that they have and put this in as like a low finding. So this is something to be looking for, but nothing we're worried about at the moment. But just something as to relate to what we're seeing in here. This wouldn't be any kind of finding on a bug bounty or anything. This is very, very low finding, but it is a finding. Okay, so on top of that, we could do, so we're pulling in information here, right? And one thing that we can do is if we right click, say on iRobot itself, if we actually drop down, we can see all the pages that it's pulled up. We could, in fact, do a scan against this site if we wanted to. And now we could crawl and audit, or we could just crawl. Now crawl used to be what was called spidering. In spidering, I like spidering better than this crawl feature for whatever reason. I don't like this. Audit means that it's going to actively start trying to attempt exploitation against the website. And it does a vulnerability scan as well. We don't really want to do that at this point. We could just crawl it and see if it finds anything of interest. If you come over to the dashboard here, you can see that it's starting to crawl. It does take some time. You'll start to see them going from gray to black. They're lighting up here. That's what we're looking for too. It's crawling all these websites that it knows about. It's finding things like the robots.txt, and we can look at the robots.txt and see what's in there. So it looks like they're hiding images / home support and HRD right rail for whatever reason. If you're not familiar with what robots.txt is, this is telling like a search engine or a spidering like Google, for example. When Google spiders a website, it comes to iRobot like we're doing. And when it says robots.txt, it says, hey, don't include this in your search engine, please. So, and you see new stuff coming in. So we come through, and this is going kind of okay speed. We can click on the settings tab here. And what we can do is go into the resource pool, and we can create a new resource pool. Now you got to be careful with this, but I like to set it at 100 and just see. If it starts airing out, I'll pause it and I'll set it slower. But if you have the resources available, it's better because look, it's starting to go a lot faster than what it was doing. So I'm pretty sure this is a feature that is available for free Burp Suite. Now, if we did the active scan, if we go back in here and we do the audit selected items, this is not a free feature. On top of this, there are, if we go into the extender up here in the top corner, there is the App Store. The App Store is a wonderful, beautiful thing. You can come in here, such as a tool like this, ActiveScan++. Okay, ActiveScan++ is an additional to the ActiveScan that we can run. That's the vulnerability scanner. It looks for more stuff. Retire.js. This looks for vulnerable JavaScript libraries, right? So you want to look through some of these and add these in if you can. Additional scanner checks, etc. You know, this is nice to have these extended tools. You do not have that option with Burp Suite regular. You have to have Burp Suite Pro. So, and as it's looking, it's still identifying stuff. But again, we're not doing any active scanning. So unless it finds something crazy, you're probably only going to see header information in here as to what it's seeing and what's possible. Okay. So this is all fun, useful information. there are a lot of other tools that we could use to help identify a website. Like let's go back to iRobot. And if you see this tool I have right here, this is called Wappalizer, Wappallyzer. All you have to do is Google Wappalizer and install it to your Firefox instance. One of the must-have tools. If you look here, it tells us a lot of information of what's going on this site. It's got the CMS information of Sitecore. It's got widgets. It's telling us, hey, this is running on a Windows server and we're running on IIS 10.0. So this is a little bit of information disclosure. My guess is if we looked at a response header from the website, that IIS, yeah, look right here. See this server IIS 10.0? It's telling us right here what the server is. It's IIS 10.0. You should not disclose your information in your headers like this. This would be a low finding on a pen test. So I'm hidden by overlay. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me take my ugly mug off. So again, here's the Wappalizer. So IIS 10.0 Windows Server here. You can see Google Analytics. But back to what I'm saying is this server response, all we did was make a GET request. We said, hey, I want your webpage, irobot.com. And then the response said, hey, here's all my information. Gave us some cookies, right? Come through, and it's got the whole HTML and everything else that's in here. Now we can render that web page if Burp's being friendly. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And it doesn't look like this one's being friendly. I think there was an issue with the version I'm on. They've since patched it. I've been using it on Windows and it's been fine. But you can get the HTML as well. But if you just look at the raw response, right here in the header tells us what kind of server it is. On a pen test, I would ding this. On a bug bounty, they don't care. This is too low of a finding. But the issue here and what we're after is we're saying, okay, you're providing me information. And while Microsoft IIS 10.0 might not be vulnerable right now, it could be vulnerable later. And this is just a fingerprint, right? I'm fingerprinting this. But it also tells me you're running a Microsoft server, most likely behind the scenes, right? So when I'm doing my attacks, I'm not looking necessarily for PHP files. I'm looking for ASP files, ASPX, ASM, ASMX. When I'm doing my exploits or exploit attempts, I'm not doing /etc/ shadow or password. I'm looking for boot.ini. So this just the little piece of information gives me clues on how I can narrow down my exploits when it gets later on in the show. So this is why, again, fingerprinting enumeration is important. But if we're doing enumeration on this, we're after a lot of stuff, right? We're going to Google IIS 10.0. And we're going to say, hey, is this vulnerable? Is IIS 10.0 vulnerable, Google? And Google will say yes or no, and here's why. Sitecore, is this Sitecore vulnerable? Same thing, we can come through here. jQuery 3.3.1. _.js. This is kind of why we have these active scanners as well. And look, we're running on Azure here. It's picking up platform as a service as Azure. So this is sitting in the cloud. Chances are, very, very highly likely, if we got a reverse shell on this machine, we're not going to be in their environment, would be my guess. This is probably in a DMZ, but even better, it's out in the cloud, right? So, but we can see ASP.NET Framework. It's all coming together. There's JavaScript as well. So a lot of information to be had just from this. Another great website similar to this is BuiltWith. So we can just say something like builtwith.com. And we can do the same thing, irobot.com. And you can see all the stuff that is running. This is all fingerprint information, right? They've got the widgets here, all the different widgets they use, e-commerce functionality, the frameworks they're using. Okay, so there's a lot of information to be had here. So if we're doing a pen test on a site like this, we want to gather that information and keep it in our back pocket. This is all very important stuff to have in our back pocket. And then we can check on our scan. See, our scan's still going. It's got 3 minutes left. It's made 5,600 requests, and we're still going. So other things that we can do. Now, there are some good websites. What I won't demonstrate, but I will show you to an extent, is this website that I discovered, and it is called WeLeakInfo.com. Now, this site is pretty awesome. Let me blow this up just a little bit. So if we come in here, and we look at this. So it costs $2 for this site, by the way. $2 for 24 hours access. That's plenty of time. You can come in here and you can do a domain. So I could say @irobot.com. And @irobot.com, it'll return anybody that's been in a data breach. It'll return information about them. It'll return possibly a first name, last name, the IP address, an email, tied to that domain, etc. And then we can just start really narrowing it down. We could say, okay, Bob Smith is part of this domain. Let's take that username and that password, and let's try to log in somewhere. Like we had this sign-in page. Let's try to sign in with that username or password. That's what's called credential stuffing. We take this information here and we try to pass it along in credential stuff, right? On top of that, we can try to do some other things. Now, some more advanced stuff that I've tried is that so say I find Bob Smith, okay? And Bob Smith is part of this company or whatever, and I want to search by his name. Okay, I search Bob Smith, I find who I know is him, and I do this usually by unique names, like you try to find a unique name. And we say, okay, we found this unique person. It'll show their personal email addresses as well. So just because you don't find the domain, you can find their personal email address, look through all the dumps and see password similarities, and it's amazing. Another thing is too, you can search by a hash. Say that you find a user and their hash hasn't been cracked. You can actually search that hash and tie them to other email addresses and find information that way. So what happens is you tie an employee to their entire history through anything that you can gather, start gathering information about them, password reuse, whatever it is. It's only a matter of time before you find somebody who just added an exclamation or used the same password or whatever it is, and you're able to log into something that you shouldn't be logged into. So this is more or less part of external testing. Now, when I do pen testing for a web app, typically how I package it is I will sell the external pen test for that web app as well, because you want to scan the server and make sure that there's no weird open ports or nothing's going on, that you can't just hack into the web server itself, regardless of what's on 80 or 443. So as part of that, I will do credential stuffing and password spraying and all the other stuff. This is a fantastic site. Now, in the past, I had built a tool that did the similar thing, and I still use it on a quick fly list. And I'll click on it real quick just to show you. But this breach parse tool did the same thing. It just came through. There's a 44 gigabyte download that you have to download. And it parses that list and you say, hey, @irobot.com, what's in here? And then you pull down all the users and passwords. And that's really what we're after. So you can find a lot of information, similarities, password reuse, usual suspects, etc. So very, very good stuff here as well. Whew. Okay, I need a drink. 1 second. Okay, so on the same front, we can also come into here, and there's a website, which I had pulled up in the other one. It's called hunter.io. Let me see if this is back to working. If we go to hunter.io here, and you sign up for an account, you get 20 searches or something a month. And I could see if I can pull up another one here. I just don't want to have to log in and everything. Okay, here's hunter.io. So let's say that we're searching for iRobot.com. You see there's 71 results here. And you can see that it gives you the most common pattern of first initial dot last name, or first initial last name at iRobot.com. We see that to be true pretty much across the board. And then if I'm trying to get into their application through enumeration, this is one of the popular ways. You take some of this. A lot of times you could pass this to like an Outlook server and see if there's valid usernames and passwords, and then you just start spraying these. You need to be very, very careful because you can lock somebody out of their account, especially if they're in Active Directory. So don't just go spraying and praying if you don't have permission. Make sure that you're not spraying and praying without permission. Okay. So anyway, that is that. Also a very, very good tool here. Okay. So this just gives us more information. We can go out to LinkedIn. We can look at employees at iRobot.com and we could say, okay, I know it's first initial last name. I'm going to add them to my list. And that's how you get a nice long list of users and credentials, or potential credentials that you can find on them. Is there somebody causing drama, guys? Hold on a second. Give me 1 second to open up the chat bot. Is there somebody in here? I don't have them in the chat. I can't ban them. No ban hammer, unfortunately. I don't see him in here. Okay, let's take a couple minute break and just chat for a second. Did I lose my screen? No, that's weird. Chat for a second. Any questions on what we've seen before I keep pushing forward or doing more? I just want to make sure everybody's up to speed. Okay. Am I always drinking coffee? No, usually energy drinks, but I'm really tired, but I didn't want to be too amped up. Thoughts of SQL map on a production server? Be very careful, you might tip it over. But if SQL injection's in scope, go for it. Did I find these tools by just searching? Just, yeah, searching around, looking at other people's enumeration is how you would do it. Once you have those credentials, it might be fair to fetch the same info over all systems. Yes. Okay, only questions about this, guys. Has my 2080 Ti been worth it? Yes, but that's we'll ask AMA here in a minute. I'm gonna come back. We're getting down to AMA. We're not there yet. Does Wapalizer leave a footprint? That's a great question. It's public information by just going there, so I don't think it's a big deal to have it on. So anyway, all right, I'm going back to the screen. So screw this VM, it's all jacked up. So we come back in here. We can do scanning against the website. Let's talk a little bit about scanning. We've been talking mostly just on kind of passive scans. We haven't gotten super active. So with active, one thing that we can do, we can just, for example, run a couple tools. One tool that I like to run is Nikto. You can say -H for host and just do something like iRobot.com. Now in a bug bounty program, are you really gonna find anything? Probably not. This is not something, again, for bug bounties that we wanna do. Really what we're after here is we are after this in terms of a web penetration test. And let's see if it actually comes back with any information. It should be almost instant. Let me copy this and try putting the www in front of this one. There we go. Boom. I screwed up. Okay, what's nice about this? Well, Nikto is a vulnerability scanner. Okay. Nikto will come through. It'll tell us some information. It'll say, hey, here's your target IP. I'll show you why this is nice here in a minute. It's got the SSL cert info. Sometimes we find things like wildcard certifications and just no-nos in here. Again, just findings on pen tests, but still information that's useful. It's also going to tell us header information. Look, that same header information here. Anti-clickjacking is missing. Anti-XSS is missing, right? And the server header changed to Akamai Ghost. I don't know how to say that. Which suggests a web application firewall. Ooh, we're up against a WAF. So we'd let this run in a real world situation. We'd see if it pulls back anything. It's just doing some light vulnerability scanning. It's going to see if any of the frameworks or anything running behind the scenes is potentially vulnerable to what we're scanning against. Nikto doesn't find a lot of useful information if you're talking bug bounty programs. All right, so anyway, what we're going to do here too is, let's say that we want to scan this for the SSL and we want to look at the ciphers. Let's say we want to look at nmap 443 on the port, and there's a script that I like that is -- script equals SSL enum ciphers, and then we'll just say actually we'll just do the IP address that we have. Let's try that script real quick. And they did really well. Look at that. That was fast too. So we're looking at the TLS ciphers that they're using. So if we come through, I'll scroll back up for a second. This is something that we check when we're doing a pen test, a web app pen test. Okay, so I pulled with Nikto, I pulled the IP address, we came back and I ran this SSL enum cipher script against the IP address we pulled with Nikto up here. And then you come down, you run it, and you check against ciphers. It gives it a grade between A and F. And as you can see, if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, their least strength is an A. So they're doing very well on the cipher front. Now, ciphers are incredibly hard to exploit. It takes a lot of time. It's not something that most people will ever do in their lifetime. It's just something that is valuable during an enumeration phase to report back on. And if they're using, like, say, if they're having Fs in their ciphers, okay, maybe that's an issue, right? Like a big issue. And maybe there's other things that are wrong out there if they're neglecting just simple things like ciphers, maybe we have issues, right? Okay, so other things that we can do. We can nmap the server to get fingerprints, right? We just nmap the ciphers, but we could say nmap 80443, and we could do -a t4, something like this. We can hit paste on the IP and scan that way. And this will take a little bit of time because we're running the -a to scan against this. But this just allows us to gather some more information. As you tell, we have gone into more of an active scanning phase here. So anyway, on top of this is going to take a while. If we're talking Nikto scanning, Nikto takes forever. Okay, nmap's done already. So you see some information here on the SSL certs. It's pulling down alternatives as well. That's cool. You can see the service version has changed here. Invalid URL that we're pulling down. So it might be load balancing. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's changing it. So we actually didn't really pull down a lot of information. We got the SSL cert. Nothing too much else here besides like our DNS, right? Or not our DNS, sorry, our trace route. Yeah, I wondered if all the people scanning iRobot are going to freak them out too, but right now we're YOLOing out. So this is good. If we come back into here, say for example that we wanted to actively scan against this, you got to be careful with active scans. And let's go ahead and do a right-click scan on iRobot. This is only for Burp Suite Pro. Let's say audit, because we already crawled it, right? Let's just say audit. Now we can consolidate the items here. Like we can come in here, remove duplicates if there's any duplicates. We can remove items with no parameters if we want, just to get out of this. So that way we're only fuzzing things for, you know, like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and places where we can inject information and parameters. So that brings us down to a nice list of 4, and it's off of a home page. It's not really going to find much, but we could active scan against this, right? Now, let's talk about the proper way of doing this. This is not the proper way. If we're going to do active scanning, what we should do is we should go to the website, and when we're at the website, we need to click around. We need to go to, you know, accessories and anything. Now that takes us to store.iRobot, but we really want to self-spider the site. Uh-oh, I think I got banned from iRobot. Perfect. So anyway, you want to, yes, mapping. You want to manually map the website. So anyway, what we do is why we do that is we gather through here, and we want to gather as much information because our spider is going to miss some information. Spider finds a lot of things that maybe we don't find, but at the same time, we have to be the counterpart and help out here. Yeah, I'm not worried about the ban, guys. Like everybody else is saying, it's perfectly normal. We're running a lot of traffic against their site. Okay. So with the information that we found and everything else, then we would start scanning it. Now, I'm going to throw out some caveats or some, please don't do this. If you are in a application and say, for example, you have admin access, because that's how it works with pen tests. Typically, they give you an admin account and a lower level account. Say you have an admin account that controls usernames. You can create new users, delete users, etc. You go in there, you spider that. Maybe you create a new user. Maybe you delete a user. And you use that process, and that gets all stored inside of this. So all those requests that you made will get put into here. Now, if you run an active scan against those requests, guess what? It's going to repeat those requests. And you could end up deleting a whole database or adding a bunch of junk users. Same thing with forms and all kinds of other stuff. Now, I made this mistake. I made this mistake not that long ago. And you know what actually probably tipped us off, guys? You guys are talking about the WAF. It's honestly the Nikto probably. The Nikto is so identifiable when we're talking against any decent WAF. It's going to pick up Nikto in a second. So my guess is when we started scanning here, it picked it up. You see it changed. Honestly, that's what happened. So Nikto probably screwed us up. Okay, so I will talk about the mistake I made just this week doing a web app pen test. So I'm working on a client web app pen test, and they have multi-factor authentication, right? So I logged in, provided my username and password. I did my multi-factor. Now the multi-factor, it goes to my cell phone. Well, I'm the idiot who did a active scan on the unauthenticated side there, just on the login page, and it had my credentials stored. So guess what? I got like 100 and something text messages at one time because Burp Suite was going through and generating login. And yeah, so tons and tons of text messages. So don't be like me. Be very careful when you run an active scan. And you guys are talking about being quiet, right? Everybody's talking about being quiet, and I'll speak on that as well. And this is my belief. As a pen tester, I am loud and I'm intentionally loud. I want to know if you are going to see me in the network or you're going to see me scanning your website. Anything I throw at you, I want to know. If you catch me, awesome. You've caught me. I'll tone down the scanning. We'll make it slower. We'll make it quieter. But if you don't catch me, that's something I have to report on my report, and that will help us tune the sim or tune your WAF or tune whatever it is to make it better, right? So I really am. Everybody says be quiet, be quiet. You have to be loud. In my opinion, you have to be loud. People can disagree with that if they want, but how is the blue team going to get better if you're going in pro stealth mode right away when they can't catch somebody that is a beginning scanner, like a script kiddie, right? So does Burp Suite actually throw in such dangerous queries? It's not the dangerous queries that Burp Suite is doing. It's mimicking what you've already done. So if you went in and deleted a test user that you created, Burp Suite's going to already know that you deleted that user. And what if a user is just a user ID 1 and then it tries user ID 2 or something like that? And then it just gets, it just starts deleting people. You don't want that. And look, at least on mine, it lit up red that it found a vulnerable version of the jQuery UI 1.11.2. My guess is with jQuery, it's probably some sort of cross-site scripting. I'm not going to dig into it. We're not going to get into any kind of exploitation against a public bug bounty on stream. But this is what lights up red. And we're not even scanning against this. It just picked this up passively. Well, kind of actively, right? But it just picked it up without doing an active scan. It is from the retire.js extension. Exactly. And there is no time in the pen test engagement to stay quiet. Exactly as well. Okay, this one request finished already on the scan. Pretty quick. I don't think it pulled in. Well, we only did 5 pages, right? So we're not going to find a lot. We're unauthenticated. We didn't really crawl the website. We're doing bad enumeration. Let's see if we're unbanned. Nope, we're still banned. It's okay. So really here, we're closing in on an hour and a half, and I'm feeling comfortable. Like, all this is, what we're doing and what I'm showing you is just different paths and ways to get enumeration on a website, right? I think Burp Suite Pro is by far the most useful tool that you can have in your pen testing toolkit, by far. I have gotten bug bounties just because of Burp Suite Pro finding something that I didn't catch. So this will not catch everything. It maybe catches 30% of what's there. You are responsible for the other 70%, and you're going to see this as we go further. My goal for us in this course, my goal as homework for this course is, let's go out to the website. Let's see if I remember my website. Let me pull up my juice shop here. And if I can find my juice shop. Okay, also don't hack my juice shop, please. Because then I'll just be sad. So if we go out to the Juice Shop app, welcome to Juice Shop. Yay. Okay, this is the first time you see it. This is our application. This is what I want to pen test. So what I want us to do, and what I want you guys to practice, is take everything we've learned today, and practice it again. Now, you don't have to do sublister against this. Don't worry about that. You're going to have your own subdomain. Nothing else is going to be here in terms of a subdomain. What you should do, I mean, you can run it, but it's going to come off public information anyway. You're not going to find anything, right? What I want you to do is practice loading this in, coming in here and showing only in scope items, coming in here and fixing your scope, right? Saying, okay, well, I want to do juice shop. So I'll go to the juice shop and then I will put that one and only that one in scope. And then we just go from there. So it's really like, this is what we're after. We're after being able to scope our stuff, We'll work on intercepting with proxies. We'll work on intruder, repeater. You're going to learn all these different tools as we go. First things first, get your website enumerated. Come in here, click on some stuff. Look at this, submit something. You know, just play around and see what you can see, and then get there. So there is a scoreboard, which you have to find, but if you're looking at it, you can just find the scoreboard off of what I have. If we come in here, it has all the different difficulties. You see there's 9, 10, 19, 21, 16, and 11. So we are going to go through these. It has all your challenges. Even some of these have little walkthroughs. So this DOM-based XXS has a walkthrough. It's really nice. This is a very, very nice platform. So that's the homework. I think I'm capping it here. The point I wanted to hammer down is the importance of enumeration, some basic concepts on how to set up your Burp and how to use Burp, how to do a little bit of scanning with Burp, a little bit of enumeration. Sublisting is super important when you're doing a pen test. Tools like Nikto, tools like nmap, all of those are super important. There's also public resources out there like Built With. There's Wapalizer. There's a bunch of stuff. The WeLeak info, right? Like all the things that we covered tonight. I encourage you to go back and rewatch this and just see all the steps that you can do and enumerate what you have here. Now, next week, what we're going to do is we're going to go into these difficulties, like I said, step by step. I'll hold your hand. We'll explain why everything is the way it is. So we're going to be covering cross-site scripting, obviously, here. And we'll go through these challenges and talk about them and why they're important. So I'm going to go ahead and call it there with 1 minute to spare. And I'm going to open up the chat. Take another drink of my coffee. We'll have AMA if you guys want. Hopefully that was explained well enough. I was talking really fast because I wanted information to go to you guys, but hopefully that was good. Okay, glad you guys enjoy it. I never know. Yeah, I want iced coffee too. This is all melted. Hey, thanks, Christian. I appreciate it. I should always talk this fast? No. Thanks, guys. What distribution is best for a beginner hacker? That is, my opinion, Kali Linux. You can also play around with Parrot, but I'm a Kali fan all the way. How long did the EWP take me? 3 weeks on and off, I think, maybe a month. I didn't do all the labs or anything. If you read my write-up on it, I knew a good chunk of pen testing. I still think it was a fantastic course to supplement on the web app side, but I went through it pretty quick. The thing that I like about the EWPT, everything that they give you in the course, like that is all you need for the exam. And that I appreciate. So they teach you literally everything you need to know. And it's fantastic. How does someone new to all this know what to be looking for? Just repetition, man. Just doing this kind of stuff and soaking it all in. Picking up a book, picking up some of these free lessons. This guide that I put up here, look, this guide will tell you what you're looking for. This information gathering will tell you what you're looking for. Google hacking, Shodan, right? Like this is some stuff where we didn't even talk about Google hacking, where you can go out on Google, look for sensitive files or information, fingerprinting the web server we did, looking for meta files. I mean, there's all different kinds of stuff in here, which is where this PDF also becomes important. And I showed you guys this on a different one, but like it has look at this. Look how many pages are in here of just how to do this stuff based on this checklist. If you're a beginner, I'm past the beginner phase. I'm no expert by any means, but I still go to this. This is my go-to. Trying to catch up. Can we get F in chat for PowerShell Empire? How did I go from finance to pen testing? A lot of late night studying. A lot of late night studying. For some reason, the chat does not like the word port swigger. Azure Microsoft does not care. They used to have a pen test form that you fill out. Now they don't really care. Just FYI, they haven't cared in like 3 years. They expect it. It's always a nice thing to like have a heads up and say, hey, Microsoft, we're going to be pen testing, but they know like somebody like iRobot's getting pen tested. Yeah, so I said Burp Suite picks up 30%. So it picks up 30%. We have to do the other 70%. Like that's this. That's, and I'm sorry I wasn't showing my screen. That's this, right? This checklist. This is the other 70%. Manual enumeration, manual testing. Burp Suite Scanner is nice for picking up some of the obvious stuff, and maybe it's good when you're looking over and glossing over and maybe you miss something. But the manual enumeration and testing is super important. I can't talk enough about how awesome this is. When I was talking earlier about SSL weak ciphers, how would you proof of concept? I don't attack weak ciphers. It's just not worth the time. I proof of concept right off that nmap script, or Qualys does it as well. Qualys has an SSL scanner. Other than that, I mean, I'll just take a screenshot right of that script, honestly. Are my slideshows available? They are not, but I will make them available in the Discord after this. From the ashes of empire rises covenant. Exactly. We did not cover Shodan. If you need any links from anything you saw tonight on the links are in the Discord. The links will be up on the video as well. I take notes as I go. I use an application called KeepNote. It's fantastic. I'll note down any little bit of information that I think will help me, especially if it's information that's disclosed and I can write as a finding as well. Like you saw that server header, the IIS 10.0. That's something that I would write up on a report as a low finding. What's the difference between pen tester and ethical hacker? There really isn't a difference, in my opinion. Next lesson is a week from today, 8 o'clock. There you go. Thank you, guys. If you don't find a substantial vuln, that's good. I'm pen testing website now where I'm not finding a ton. Like there's some stuff in there, but some things that we want to look at is like, can I enumerate users, right? Can I enumerate users on a login page? Does it give me a verbose error message that says username / password, or does it say username not found, password not found? Like, does it tell us or password's wrong? Then it says that we know that the user's good. Can I lock accounts out? What kind of information does it disclose? What kind of ciphers are out there? Do they have something like autocomplete enabled? Do they have default web pages or missing headers like the cross-site scripting or the HSTS, stuff like that we saw? Those are all like nice little low findings that can really help improve like a security posture. And still, you might not be finding anything crazy on the substantial side. Trying to catch up, guys. The chat is so far ahead of where I am. How did I get anybody to look at me? I switched into help desk, and then I became a network engineer, and I got certifications along the way. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It matters how well you can interview and how telling people that you don't know, being honest, and say you're willing to learn. Very, very useful in interviews, honestly. You just got to find an employer willing to take a chance on you. Every employer has taken a chance on me, and I've not let them down. And that's really what it is. The checklist has been posted in Discord, people. We covered this in the beginning. If you weren't here, it is in Discord. Manual testing and code review is where you find the juicy stuff. That is accurate. Can any individual hacking IT stuff require more than one GPU? It can if you want to do some like intense hash cracking, but I mean, my GPU holds up fine. I run into more IIS servers than I do on Apache. I'd have to look for that salary list. I don't know where that's at this moment. I'll look for it. If you ping me in Discord, I'll find it. Do you need programming knowledge? To become a pen tester, you need to have some programming knowledge. You don't have to be a programmer. You have to understand the code and what you're seeing. You don't have to have the whole developer background and mindset in order to be a good pen tester. I'm an i7 fanboy over the Ryzen, but either way, I use an i9 right now. You guys are asking about vulnerabilities. If it's in the OWASP top 10, we're going to cover it. So you're asking about videos, it's gonna happen. Somebody asked about the spraying and praying, the password spraying. That's a good question. So what we're doing is Outlook has enumeration. They don't want to call it a vulnerability, but they have user enumeration. So there's nice Outlook tools, OWA, O365 out there that you can spray, even Metasploit. It'll come back and say, hey, this user's valid or this user's not valid. From there, you can narrow down your list and just fire away. Now, some Outlook instances, like O365 locks out after like 10 or 15. It's only a temporary lockout, 10 or 15 attempts. I have seen Outlook instances where they do not lock out at all. Where you got to be careful is like the single sign-on, because that ties to Active Directory attempts, and then you could start denying service to so many users. You got to be very, very careful when you're password spraying, and try to only password spray 2 or 3 passwords, or you're going to screw up a whole lot of stuff. Too many questions. I'm going to skip some of these, guys. I haven't done the GWAP. How is Kali different? Google that question. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Thank you, guys. The 2080 Ti has been worth it. I did a lot of hash cracking last week and it was fantastic. Very good speeds. Catching up, guys. I'm scrolling through some of these. If you're a student, is it worth dropping $400 for Burp? Only if you plan on doing like bug bounty hunting or trying to get that money back for it. How would somebody cut their teeth on Microsoft AD environment? You can build your own for free if you have enough RAM to do it. Otherwise, the Pentester Academy has a course for like $300 or something that you can take with a lab. I think that's fantastic. You can do offshore for $100 a month at Hack the Box, Rasta Labs on Hack the Box. You could read up articles as well, but obviously hands-on practice is going to be better. How many weeks do I anticipate this course being? Probably like anywhere from 8 to 10, maybe. 3 books on pen testing. I don't read books, man. I'm a video / hands-on learner. Somebody said Red Team Field Manual. I've heard good things. When's the next Overwatch stream? Whenever you guys want. I will stream Overwatch whenever you want. I did not go to DEF CON this year. Some links will be, the links that I showed earlier will be on YouTube as well. What SANS courses have I done? I have done no SANS courses. Now the OSCP, okay, the GPen, they have an advanced GPen. It's the 660. Look into SANS 660 after the OSCP. I think it's a good step up. Just my opinion. I have 32 gigs of RAM, so I do a lot of stuff though. I've got all kinds of VMs running, everything going. I'm streaming. I need 32 for what I'm doing. If I heard anything about the OffSec web app course, I've heard mixed reviews on the exam and the information that's learned in it, but I haven't taken it, so I don't want to bash it or anything. I've just heard mixed things from people that have. If I got a black badge at a con, yeah, I won a wireless capture the flag earlier this year. That is correct. GPTX, that might be it. I don't like to read books. I'm not a book reader. What do I think of the Security Plus? I think the Security Plus is a good exam if you're or a good thing to have if you're a beginner. It doesn't hurt to get you jobs. It's not useful once you're established in your career. Like, I won't renew my Security Plus. But if you're trying to work in government as well, the United States DoD 8570 government work requires the Security Plus. So if you're newish to the field, I don't think it's a bad cert at all. MTX, you get out of here, sir. How do you pass getting locked out of the server? You make attempts very slowly and over a course of time. Like, the password spraying attacks work very, very well if you have 1,000 usernames that are valid. Because then I can pass summer 2019 exclamation to 1,000 usernames. And guess what? One of those is probably going to pop. But if I only have 10 usernames, then my chances are really decreased. And I can only spray 3 at a time, right? And then I'm done. So you really have to make it a good 3. I would rather spray 3 against 1,000 than I would 10. So the bigger the company, the easier it is, in my opinion. Do I recommend taking the CH before OSCP? Do not take the CH. Go directly to OSCP. Do not cross go. Yeah, EJPT and ECPPT are good. Exactly. Do I have any CVEs under my belt? I am not a reverse engineer or any sort of exploit developer. So no, the answer is big no on that one. Thoughts on CCNA? Hey, burnt toast. I have to reply to your email. Thoughts on CCNA? I think it's good. I think it's good to a point. I think it's good to help you understand basic networking, and it's really nice to have in a pen testing aspect. It's helped me in a lot of situations. A lot of people use Cisco, and a lot of pen tests revolve around Cisco. I wouldn't go past that, because the farther you go into Cisco certs, the more pigeonholed you get into Cisco certs. I have a very good buddy at my last job who is a CCND, CCNP, like CCDP or whatever as well. Like, he's got a lot of the CCDs, or the CC, whatever the second stage of it is, not the IE. And he got pigeonholed into a lot, even as a pen tester, to doing a lot of like security console assessments, config reviews, all kinds of stuff like that. You don't want to be that guy. CCDP. That's it. All right, I can breathe. I have caught up, kind of. Have you been working with a company that buys private exploit? No. What are these questions? All right, I'm caught up on chat. What's up? That was a long list of questions, guys. Sorry if I skipped over your question. I just took the ones that were like of most value. My domain admin streak is over. It is over, guys. I bragged too much. I have lost. Am I going to try for the CISSP? I am not. My plan is to be a business owner. Me as a business owner, I don't care what certifications I have. What's your opinion on doing the Network Plus, then the OSCP approach? I think that's fine. Honestly, you don't have to have that much of a background in networking. Just be comfortable. Like, do you know what ARP is? Do you know what a routing table is? Do you know, like things like that? What a CAM table is? Do you know the 7 layers of your OSI model? If that sounds foreign to you, you probably need a little bit of background in networking. When can you say that you know Linux? When you're comfortable in the terminal. Like, I don't know everything about Linux. There's a ton of stuff I don't understand. Just when you're comfortable navigating around, you know some of the commands, you get a little bit of bash scripting down, and you feel comfortable, I think that's when you could say you know Linux. At least at an everyday user level, right? Do I use SNMP walk much? I like SNMP-check, preferably. SNMP walk's okay, but I like SNMP-check. It's a little easier to use. What happened? On the internal assessment, what happened? I ran into a situation that had none of the common attacks. God, LLM and R poisoning was disabled. There was no SMB relay, or there was really no SMB in the network. No default credentials, good password policy, very small environment. So I ran into a big stonewall. I was very, very close. I had a really good idea that didn't pan out. So I ended up capturing some credentials, doing some man-in-the-middle listening with Ettercap, but it really wasn't anything great. But what happened was I got logged into their company phone, and I was on the OWA, and they have O365 password reset option offered a password reset phone call to the company phone. So what I did was I forwarded the company phone to my phone. But what was happening is the forward wasn't going through because it was inside the network. The forward was getting picked up the call was getting picked up by an auto attendant first that would then dial the line and then forward in. So you would have to press a button to get to me, and there was no option for an extension, unfortunately. So unless I would actually have been able to hack the phone provider account, then that would have worked for the password reset. But unfortunately, it didn't work. If I would have been able to password reset, I would have been able to password reset all the accounts, and I would have had domain for sure. Very, very close outside the box thinking, though. And that's kind of what you run into when you're in an environment and there's not much going on. Think you'll ever do pen testing with the cloud? I pen test a little bit with the cloud nowadays. I know you like those. Do I see eLearn certs or other certs replacing the OSCP as the golden standard? I don't think so. Some big framework has to adopt eLearn security for that to happen, and it just hasn't happened yet. I keep my fingers crossed. I think eLearn is the gold standard for the price that they have, but it just hasn't happened yet. Or OffSec, could update their stuff. Would be cool too. If OffSec included Active Directory and updated material, I think top of the line, honestly. Recommendations for learning Bash, just Google Bash videos, Bash scripting, and there's a ton of stuff out there. Even Udemy could teach you some of that. Oh, there's 8 layers to the OSI model. All right. I'm on to you, Dante. I'm reading some of these. I got to skip a couple again. Sorry, guys. Quantum computing, I don't know enough about that to answer that. When I mentioned I want to be a business owner, I own my own pen testing company now. It's just a matter of time. Like I am a business owner. I'm just saying I am a business owner. I don't care about what certifications I have. It's a matter of I think I can do the work and the client can do the work. EWPT versus OSWE. I'm still on the EWPT boat. Although the OSWE does have source code review, which I think is good. EWPT does too, but it's not as detailed as I would imagine. Do you ever use Fierce, and does it yield stuff that Sublister doesn't? I don't use Fierce. I'll have to check it out. Is it viable to make $1,500 in bug bounties monthly? Yeah, I think that's a reasonable goal if you're working at it. Like, do you have 40 hours a week to apply to it? Because then, yes, I think probably you could get there. I don't know how much time it would take you starting from zero, though. Everybody's different in how they learn. You don't want to be a programmer, but you want to be in computer cybersecurity. You don't have to be a programmer in cybersecurity. It just helps. You don't have to be one. Just do certifications and find a job field that interests you. Do certifications and find the tools and stuff that you need to know based on job listings, and just work towards that kind of knowledge. You don't have to have the CS degree to be hireable. Was it VoIP? It was VoIP. If it was encrypted, no, it was not encrypted. Not that I know of. Do clients feel like it's a waste? No. Well, the client needed it for compliance purposes, so they had to do it regardless. And there are some findings that I had in there that would be very valuable for them, that it's going to improve. They benefited a lot from being a smaller environment. Had they been a larger environment, I think I would have been okay. The 8-layer is a joke, guys. The 8-layer is a joke. Is owning a pen test company better? I think owning and being your own boss is the best feeling in the world. Right? Like nobody has to tell you what to do. You can work when you want to work. You can do whatever you want to do. As long as your clients are happy and you're making money and you're happy, there's no better feeling. I don't think it's boring at all. You get to be a sales guy. You get to be a marketing person. You get to be a pen tester. You get to wear all these different hats. There's a lot of stress sometimes. There's a lot of work. But holy shit, have I learned a lot. It's been awesome, man. How do you prepare a laptop? I've got a laptop checklist. I sent it out. I sent it out last week to Discord, but it's basically an Azure VPN that it talks into. I RDP into that VPN. Well, I VPN in, then I RTP into that machine, and I test from there. It's super, super easy. Open VPN connection. And most clients don't care if you're on site. Some like that face-to-face. When I'm doing sales calls, I'll say, hey, do you want me to be on site? Usually they don't want to pay for that travel. It saves a lot of money if they don't have to pay for that travel. So some are old school and want to see you on site, but a lot of people are just like, hey, ship me a laptop. I'll plug it in for you. I've never done IoT hacking. Do I have a lot of people on my team? I am a one-man shop. Do I want pen testers working for you? Yes, I do. At some point, I would love to have a coworker. First things first, I got to get a salesperson, but I got to have enough money to pay a salesperson. So that'll be my first hire. Top 3 certifications. I need to know more details on which field. Do I ever play around with RE and malware? I don't. I have purchased a course that I have not used yet. I will get to it at some point, I'm sure. Do I need an intern? Not yet. Not yet. I will say this, and this is my friend told me this, and I think it's a fantastic idea. If you are watching and your company needs a pen test and you recommend me and you are interested in pen testing, I will let you sit second seat and you can watch the entire pen test with me. If you get your company to hire me, I will do that. If you get a different company and you recommend me to hire me, I offer 10% on the revenue of that. Not the profit, the revenue. So it's a quick way to earn some easy cash too. So good offers. If you guys can get me a deal, I will let you sit second seat. You can have a whole week with me doing the pen test. Can you do a pen test or sysadmin job out of college? You can, but I've only seen it done with a lot of certifications or a comp sci degree. So you got to be racking up those comp sci degrees, honestly. Or you got to rack up the certifications is what I meant to say. Sorry. When do you think it's a proper time to start up? I mean, a proper time is when you feel comfortable enough to do the work, you have enough money saved up, and you think you could be successful, potentially have some networking and some clients and information out there that leads you to believe you would be successful on your own. For me, the reason I stepped out is my old job, there were clients coming to me or coming to my job to have me pen test them. Like they knew who I was and they said, I want that guy to do my pen test. But you know, the job that I was working at, they're not offering any commission on that. They're just saying, oh, hey, cool. We've got this guy working for us that people know. So I was benefiting them, but I was seeing no benefit from it directly. And at that point, I was like, well, if people know who I am and they want me to do the pen tests, why don't I just go on my own and do my pen tests? So, is it hard to find projects or clients? It is difficult. Yes. I bid very competitively, I think. So I think that's a very good thing. It's hard to drive traffic. And it's hard to get people. I get a lot of people on my website every week and every day. It's hard to actually drive that. Most of my income right now is coming more from live training events or doing one-on-one training sessions and mentoring sessions. I have a ton of those that I do. The clients are sporadic, about once every month or so, maybe once every month or two. But I've got a lot of bids out right now and stuff is coming through and it's doing really well. Any certs that you're doing currently? I have the EPWTX that I am backburnered. I am doing the PTX right now. I'm going to do offshore with it, and I'm just getting some last advanced Active Directory stuff that I'm really into. But top 3 certifications for pen testing. All right, we're going to do beginner pen testing here. Top 3, eLearn Security PTP number 1. Offensive Security Certified Professional number 2, and the SANS GSEC number 3. I rank those based on this decision. 1 is cost. Out of the 3 of those, technically the OSCP is the cheapest. Perfect. SANS is the most expensive. eLearn Security is in between. It's about $1,400, right? Second, does it have a practical exam? eLearn Security does. OSCP does. The SANS certification does not. Third, how practical is the course? How relevant? How new is it? eLearn Security course teaches internal and external penetration tactics. Fantastic. You need that to become a decent pen tester. OSCP only teaches external methodology and is more capture the flag like. GSEC teaches more of external methodology as well. And GPen, not the GSEC guys, GPen. And so with the cost and everything there, it's kind of expensive. The other thing to think about is the HR capacity, right? So the eLearn Security, nobody freaking knows who it is. That's unfortunate. OSCP is the golden ticket. Everybody knows who that is. That'll get you an interview in HR. but you're going to lack knowledge to get that pen test job. The G pen is the most expensive. You're still going to lack knowledge with it, but it's somewhere in the middle in terms of where you land on an HR program. SAN certifications are very valuable. But I like the eLearn Security purely because of it's okay on the costs, it's got a practical exam, and it teaches you relevant and modern attacks on both the external and the internal side. So, let's see. For someone who barely getting by on easy machines, I'd shoot for the EJPT before trying. Okay, the easy machines on Hack the Box are like moderate machines on the OSCP. Just take the PWK. You don't have to have the EJPT before. Just do the PWK and get it over with. Honestly, I'm so far behind on these questions, guys. I'm sorry. Do you get to critique me over my shoulder if you're watching? Sure, absolutely. What's up, Stephen G? Hacker halted. I don't know. I saw that's in Atlanta, right? I saw there were free tickets. I think there's something else going on that weekend that I applied for a speaking spot, and I don't think that I can do both. Is what it was, or that somebody's in town or something's going on. I don't know Java. How would I make a Java course? Offer still stands if the referral's out of state or out of country. Backdooring antivirus is a much, much later video to come at some point. Yeah, you have to prepare yourself for not having work for months. Like that, you have to be able to supplement. There's ways to supplement money. Cobalt, doing pen testing with Cobalt, doing 1099 work with other employers or however you need to do it, doing bug bounties, whatever you need to do to supplement the work while you're not finding clients. Same thing with live training sessions and one-on-one sessions. Have you ever trained junior pen testers? Yes, I have trained. I've trained a lot of people. The process is really about methodology. A lot of juniors have decent methodology, but getting that enumeration down and training them what to look for, and then the internal pen testing is where a lot of junior pen testers struggle. So, how hard is it to start and maintain? The cost startup of a company in pen testing is very, very cheap. I think my startup costs were under $5,000, and that's including tools and everything else that I needed. If you're paid $140K a year, and that's net salary, you have to pay taxes. You have to pay taxes. So I'll give you an example. I was making $140,000. If you take in the vacation time, everything else that I was making, in order to break even, and you pay more taxes too, I would have to make like $180,000. I did that. If you watch the entrepreneurial series that I have, I talk about all that and that decision and how to calculate that. It's a lot more money. Like the money you make now, there's a lot more fringe benefits that come out of that you don't even realize. So you have to total up all this stuff that you get, including health insurance. You have to have insurance, liability insurance for yourself when you do these pen tests. So there's a lot of stuff that your employer pays for that you just don't realize. I think PTS is applicable for everything. I'm still far behind, guys. Hi, Susan O'Keefe. Yeah, I saw it was in Atlanta. Who was it? I think Joe Gray was putting out free tickets. Internal pen testing is the most fun pen testing you will ever do. I promise you. It does not get more fun than internal pen testing. Change screens here. Okay, there we go. And here's the thing about internal pen testing versus external. So all this methodology and stuff that you learn in most of these courses, you learn, the methodology and how to enumerate. But like when you do external exploitation, chances are you're not finding a remote code execution on the external network. You might find a misconfiguration. Like we've encountered Cisco on a default login on a router before. That's bad juju. But typically you're looking for some sort of credential stuffing, password spraying, leveraging chaining attacks to get in to applications and then chain those elsewhere. On the internal side, because the external side is hardened quite a bit. The internal side, think about it. It's like on the external, they put up a fortress, but on the internal, they have no doors. A lot of people don't focus on that internal aspect. It's the wrong decision, but that's really how it is. It is a bloodbath. It is so fun. It's really a joy. It really is. Do they pen test and entertainment and Wi-Fi systems on aircraft? I would imagine that they do. I was interviewing for a military-based pen test, aircraft pen test before I got my previous job. I obviously that's different with the entertainment Wi-Fi because it's military-based, but I would imagine all the major companies have their pen test team or somebody pen testing their equipment. Aircraft pen testing, yeah, buddy. It was in the middle of nowhere. I forget the base. It was, California. Edwards Air Force Base. It's like outside, 40 minutes outside of Palmdale. It's in the desert. There was no towns nearby, nothing nearby. But they did $50,000 in training a year. $50,000 in training. They sent you to the Lincoln School. They did an IDA Pro class with their people. They did so much. You got like 2 or 3 SANS courses. So, I mean, that benefit alone, but it was like a 45-minute drive just to get to base. I heard 30 minutes additionally once you're already on base. So it really wasn't worth it. And living in the desert. Christian, you're a funny guy. A lot of stuff coming through. And if you guys, if you subbed and I didn't say anything, I'm checking now. Sorry, guys. Action subbed. I don't know if I said thank you, Action. I appreciate it, buddy. JD donated $5. I didn't see that come through either. Thank you, JD. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you, everybody. What was your name on Discord and why did I ban you? Is the question. I used other web app vuln scanners. I guess technically if we're talking Nikto, but professionally, no, I use Burp. Easy path to junior pen test cyber analyst will be coming from a senior. Certifications, man, certifications and knowledge. That's all you need in this field is knowledge. If you can interview well, that's all we want. We don't have enough people. But you have to have the knowledge, and that's the issue, is not enough people put in the effort to actually get to the level that they could be successful in this field. There's a lot of people, I did this speech earlier, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to go on a rant. This field is for people who are driven, that like to learn, that want to learn something new every day. We are a very special kind of person. You have complacency on the lower level, the lower tiers. You see people in the same jobs for 5 years, 10 years. That is not pen testing. You get into pen testing, you find a little bit of complacency with some people, but most people are always learning, wanting to know that new exploit. This mindset is not for everybody. Pen testing sounds sexy, but when people try to get into it, they dive into it, they realize it's really hard and not a lot of people are cut out for it. So as long as you have the knowledge and you're willing to put in the time and the effort, that's all you got to do, buddy. To become a pen tester, that's all you got to do. So Noodle, I checked on the ban list earlier and I did not see your name in it. So if it wasn't noodle.exe, it was not in my list. Congrats, Drew. Good luck on your first pen test. Anyone else see those lovely RDP vulnerabilities? Yes, I did. That's going to be interesting. The Deja Blue or whatever it was. Ghost.text. You were fighting with other people and causing a lot of shit. I remember now. Why should I unban you? Appeal to the court of TCM. Yes, don't have a big ego. That is correct. Why do I like Nessus so much? It's just good to give to like a client in terms of like, it helps pick up things that nmap doesn't pick up. It helps find and identify some things that maybe with version information or stuff that you just don't see right away. It's good for a quick review. Like if you say, hey, I want to look at all my service version information, I can just go look at that, or what ports are open, or what HTTP ports are open. Where's the printer at? You know, it maps all that stuff for you and puts it in nice little categories. And that's really useful. On top of that, for just providing that report on top of the report you write, we just don't like copy the Nessus report, but providing all that additional scan information as well is very valuable to the client. Yep, there's a lot of smarter people out there. Always focus on being the dumbest person in the room. Always focus on being the dumbest person in the room. If you feel like you are the smartest person in the room, it is time to quit your job, move somewhere where you are the dumbest person. Honestly. I have no opinions on Kevin Mitnick. Yes, I have my OSCP. When's the next lesson with the wife? The wife is going on vacation, going to visit her family for the next few days. So maybe next week? I don't know when that's going to be. Kevin Mitnick was a fantastic social engineer. What? Catching up with all my emails. All right. And I told you guys 10 o'clock. I'm still rambling on. It's 10:15. I should have an FAQ in my AMA, but those questions are coming from YouTube, unfortunately. Have you ever done RFID hacking? I've done RFID cloning. That's about as far as it's gone. I provide the entire Nessus scan report, every single item. Are the wife and I going to be a pro pen test couple? I don't think so. She doesn't like pen testing. I wish I could switch to Overwatch. I think that's it would be too hard to keep up with chat and play Overwatch. I do need sleep. Absolutely need sleep. I got 4 hours yesterday. Look into Boss Cloner. It's $2,000. You can build your own for about 500, and they teach you how to do it. Boss Cloner. You'll carry me? I need carried. What else? Catching up. I don't know anything about the HTTP denial of service. Universal income sounds like politic talk. I do not talk politics because I can only get myself into trouble. I think there will be a lot of automation in the next 10 years. Yes, I still think there's always going to be a need for manual aspect of jobs. No politics. I don't know. What does it mean when a network's self-aware? I have no idea what you're talking about. All right, I will give this, I'll tell you what, 10 more minutes. We'll do 10 more minutes. There's still 182 of you in here. You guys are crazy. Least favorite Overwatch hero to have on my team? Oh God. That's a hard question. I don't know why this is so difficult. I don't know the answer to that. I feel like it's a DPS character. Like, you can't go wrong with the tank and you can't go wrong with the healer. And there's so many characters, like, if somebody could play that character well, then I don't have an issue with it. But there's complicated characters, right? Like, say like a Genji. If somebody's playing Genji and they can't play him well, right now what's driving me nuts is everybody's playing Sigma and competitive, and nobody is good at Sigma, and it is sucking so bad. Oh God, I am bad at Doomfist. A good Doomfist can absolutely ruin a game for everybody. Same thing, like I said, good Hanzo. Hanzo builds his ult so fast. Everybody's playing Sigma in competitive right now. Literally everybody. Reaper's been annoying for like 3 seasons. Most favorite internet security suit? What does that mean? Suite? Suit? What testing image is better to prepare yourself for Priv-esque? Hack the Box. Lots of Hack the Box Priv-esque will get you there. Virtual hacking labs, from what I hear as well. Give me an example of what you mean by Internet Security Suite. Because I'm still confused. When you say that you know networking basics, We talked about this a little bit earlier, but like, do you know what an ARP table is? CAM table? Do you know the 7 layers of the OSI model? Do you know what a routing table is? Do you know what the netstat command does? MBT stat, etc. IPv4 versus IPv6. Do you know how to subnet? Borderlands 3, I am super excited for. I got into Borderlands 2 maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I thought it was fantastic. And I was probably, what, 5-10 years out of my, since its release. It is such a good game. I will play the hell out of Borderlands 3. I am a fan of the Windows Defender security suite, if that's what we're going with. Cyberpunk 2077, I'm looking forward to that as well. Are we just asking dumb questions? Ask dumb questions now? I like the winky face, though. Whew, you guys have been awesome. All right. I've never played World of Warcraft. Never. For good reason. Because I'm afraid that I'm going to like it. If I like it, I'll become... have you ever seen that picture of Cartman on South Park playing World of Warcraft? That's what I would become if I actually liked it. So... next week is hands-on juice shop. I don't know much about malware analysis, man. I can't answer that question. I'm sorry. Google is your best friend, though. I've had no videos taken down from the policy, no. Best way to learn Python. Develop a program. Think of something you want to do. It doesn't matter what it is. Just think of something you want to do and make it happen. Build it piece by piece. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to function well, but make it function. And then once it's functioning, make it better. Think of ways to improve it. Improve your logic, right? So think about it logically first. How do you want the program to work? What are your situations? Are there conditional statements? Are there loops? And then from there, just build out tiny pieces. And there's always resources out there. Stack Exchange or whatever it is will have resources available for what you want to do. Promise you. Google's the answer for everything. What branch of military was I in? I was in the Army. That is correct. They did have it taken down. Sure, Susan, you're a hacker now, or Sasa, or whatever your name is. I was a 68 Echo, which is a dental specialist, and then I was a 70 Bravo, which is a health admin officer. I got to be on both sides. 11 Bang Bang. Too serious. Would I say that education, okay, going from accounting to red team ops, would I say education is irrelevant? I don't think it's irrelevant. I don't think it's necessarily necessary. I do think that having a master's degree has helped me get job interviews and has definitely helped land me jobs before. Especially my network engineering job, it required a master's degree, and I think I leveraged that job to get into the field of pen testing. So it's a little bit of mix there, mixed feelings towards it. I think that you can get by in the field of pen testing and even IT without a degree, but I do think a degree will put you ahead. You have to weigh the ROI. What's your return on your investment? Are you going to make more money with it? Is the 4 years worth it? Is the expenses you're going to have to pay for it worth it? So what you can or cannot legally do for practicing pen tests on public sites, if you have a website that allows you to pen test it, then that's in scope. If it's not on a bug bounty program or doesn't give you explicit permission, then you can't attack it. That's that simple. I got 2 minutes. Hobbies outside of pen testing or games. Sports. I like watching sports, playing sports. Basketball, football, all good stuff. Tennis, great. What else? I like to play the guitar. I like Teslas. Those are cool. I like to eat. Is eating a hobby? I think it is. I have a fantasy football team I've been running for like 13 or 14 years. Actually, that just reminds me, I got to spin it up. I don't think the tools change, Keith. I mean, same tools that are out there. If there's something else that I don't know about, then I would Google that, but I think standard scanning tools work just fine. Beginner acoustic course? You guys don't want that for me. Do I speak Italian? I do not. Do you have a Tesla? I do not. Do I run keeper picks? No, we don't. Brady or Wentz? Absolutely Brady. What I master in? I mastered in computer information systems. And with that, it is 10:30. I have survived your AMA. So, next week, we're going to get into starting to do some of this information gathering. Again, homework. Get on Juice Shop and start enumerating it with all the tools that we did before. I'm going to expect you to have done that. Hopefully you found some interesting stuff, maybe even get some points out of it. There are some easy points up for grabs. So we'll go from there. I'll look into unbanning you, Noodle. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. Yeah, I am ready for sleep. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for being here. Still have 140 people in here. That is insane, guys. So thank you so much. I appreciate everything. So next week, Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern. Be there, be square. Pieces. Bye, guys.